Welcome to the Get Wisdom podcast. And for you folks maybe looking for a new way to do life or, figure out how to get unstuck, maybe in some area of your life, or you just need a new perspective on your current circumstances. Well, we can definitely assist you with all of those things. Check us out over at www.getwisdom.cc. I'm Miranda.
And I'm Jay.
And today, we're taking you through this white paper by Brent Ziemann.
That's right. Our goal here is really to provide you with some actionable insights. Things you can actually use.
Okay, so we're diving into Ziemann's work, The Journey to Self-Awareness, Understanding Our Beliefs and Identity. And this paper, it gives us a pretty critical starting point, doesn't it? Like, we often think we know ourselves pretty well.
Right.
But Ziemann argues that the identity we build, it's actually kind of a comfortable cage.
Yeah, a cage made up of beliefs we inherited, maybe habits we've never really looked at.
Interesting. So our mission today for you listening is to maybe give you some tools to start breaking out of that cage.
Exactly. It's really about sharpening your critical thinking skills, learning how to navigate that internal set of beliefs that, well, shapes your whole world.
Yeah. And the core takeaway here, the TLDR, if you will, is that self-awareness isn't just about, feeling good or navel-gazing.
No, not at all.
It's about questioning those really fundamental beliefs and understanding your responses, like the immediate emotional, mental, even physical reactions they trigger.
That's the key, those immediate reactions.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit then. Section 1, the journey starts with what Ziemann calls the conscious effort. So self-awareness, it requires this intentional observation of our thoughts and feelings.
Right. It's not passive. You're not just sitting quietly reflecting, although that can be part of it.
It's more like active surveillance, of how you react to all the different stimuli life throws at you.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that the paper gives us these immediate red flags, signs that we're operating purely on autopilot.
Autopilot, meaning we lack awareness of our underlying beliefs.
Precisely. And Ziemann calls these global statements.
Global statements. Okay, like what kind of phrases are we talking about?
Well, think about sweeping generalizations. Like when you hear yourself or someone else say, everyone is this way.
Ah, okay. Or maybe no one does this.
Yes. Or even personally, I never do this.
Or I always do that.
Those exact phrases, they signal this unconscious lack of awareness.
But why are those kinds of statements so dangerous? I mean, they seem like harmless shorthand sometimes. What's the real cost?
Well, the cost is that these statements often cover up the truth about our own values, our own specific beliefs. When you say everyone is this way, you're kind of outsourcing your thinking, aren't you?
Yeah, you're avoiding the work of figuring out your own position. You just lump yourself in with some generalized group.
Exactly. So Ziemann suggests if you catch yourself using those definitive phrases, no one, everyone, always, never, stop.
Just stop dead in your tracks.
Yeah, because those statements likely reflect some underlying belief system, one you've probably never actually checked out or validated for yourself.
Okay, that makes sense. So as we mature, the expectation shifts, right?
It has to.
We need to move from just sort of inheriting beliefs from family, culture, whatever, to consciously owning them.
Yes. And owning them means asking those critical questions.
Yeah.
Which can be uncomfortable, let's be honest.
Definitely uncomfortable. And this leads us right into that next phase Ziemann talks about, critical examination. The paper lays out some essential questions we absolutely have to ask to challenge our own assumptions.
It does. And the first one is pretty foundational. Why? Why do I believe these things?
Simple question, but probably hard to answer, honestly.
Very. But then it gets even more rigorous, because Ziemann carefully separates two concepts most of us probably just lump together: truth and validity.
Ooh, okay. That is a crucial distinction. Can you break that down a bit? What's the real difference between asking, is this true, versus is this valid? They sound really similar.
They do sound similar, but they're fundamentally different. Truth, in this context, refers to objective fact, verifiable external reality.
Like, is the sky blue? Is that factually, objectively true?
Exactly. Whereas validity is more about the rational coherence of the belief within your own internal system, your value structure.
Okay, I think I get it. So a belief could be based on something factually true. Like, say, the stock market went up today. That's a truth.
Right.
But if my response to that truth is, I don't know, fear and panic because I have this core belief that all financial systems are rigged, then my reaction, even though it's linked to a truth, isn't necessarily a valid or helpful response based on my own goals or maybe a wider perspective.
Precisely. That's a great example. So the challenge then, according to Ziemann, is moving to the action part. How do I discover if this is true? And importantly, how do I discover if this is valid for me?
And how do you discover validity?
Well, you test the belief against your actual experiences. You observe the result it produces in your life. Does holding this belief serve you? Is it rational for you?
Wow. Okay, so engaging in that kind of deep critical examination, that really reveals something fundamental, doesn't it?
It really does.
The paper says it shows just how subjective the human experience is. Our world isn't just objective reality hitting our senses.
Not at all. It's largely shaped by our memories, the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, our past.
And that core identity we cling to.
That identity is key.
Which brings us to the next section and why this whole process is so difficult. I love how Ziemann calls truth an inconvenient reality.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it often is, isn't it?
Why? Why do our brains actively resist truth, especially if it conflicts with that story we tell about ourselves?
It really boils down to psychological self-preservation. It sounds dramatic, but it's true. Humans, fundamentally, we prefer narratives that align with the identity we've already built.
Because those stories make the world feel coherent, predictable, manageable.
Exactly. Changing a core belief isn't just like swapping out one thought for another. It feels like changing who you are.
That feels threatening.
It feels deeply threatening on a subconscious level.
Yeah.
And that triggers resistance. Big time.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So, if my identity is wrapped up in being, say, a really careful, meticulous person,
Mm-hmm.
and the objective truth, maybe pointed out by others, is that I'm actually often quite messy or forgetful,
Yeah.
my brain will literally filter the incoming data, the feedback, to protect that careful, meticulous identity I hold on to.
Absolutely. It will minimize the messy examples, highlight the careful ones. It's a filtering mechanism. And Ziemann really stresses this point. This is a universal human trait. This isn't limited to certain types of people or certain groups. We all do this.
Right, it's just part of the human condition.
It seems to be.
Yeah.
And without self-awareness, we just operate in that simple stimulus-response loop.
Something happens externally.
And we react immediately. Often emotionally, often based on those hidden beliefs, without any conscious space to evaluate objectively.
We see this playing out constantly, don't we? Like, think about social media comment sections sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
I can almost see the stimulus response in real time, unfiltered reactions just pouring out.
It's often a direct window into someone's level of consciousness, or lack thereof, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Unexamined beliefs just triggering instant reactions.
Yeah. And to really hammer home how powerfully identity distorts reality,
Hmm.
the paper uses a specific example. It's nonpartisan, but universally understood, discussions around polarizing political figures.
Right. This is presented as kind of the ultimate evidence of this identity filter at work. So if an individual has constructed their identity around, say, strongly opposing a particular figure, the paper uses former President Trump as the example,
Mm-hmm.
then that identity can act as a complete filter. They might interpret every single action, every statement, every policy through a negative lens.
Almost regardless of the objective facts sometimes.
That's the argument. The
So-
identity demands that interpretation. And the flip side is also true, of course.
So those who've maybe integrated support for that same figure into their core identity.
Yeah, they might overlook things or explain away actions that others find problematic. The person might become viewed almost like a savior figure, as the paper puts it, someone who can basically do no wrong.
So it's not even really about the specific political stance, is it? It's about the psychological mechanism.
Exactly. It's how your perception gets molded by your identity, not just by objective reality or facts.
Logic and facts can become secondary to making the narrative fit the identity.
Right. And the stronger that identity connection, the more impervious the filter becomes to any inconvenient truths that might challenge it.
Wow. Okay. So the goal then is to break that stimulus response loop, to somehow remove or at least become aware of that filter.
That's the journey to consciousness, yeah.
So if we accept that our own identity is, in a way, actively trying to trick us to maintain consistency, what are the actionable steps? What does Ziemann suggest we actually do to cultivate greater consciousness?
Well, the paper starts with some practices that sound deceptively simple.
Okay.
First, practice listening more and talking less,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why is that so important?
because it forces you to take in external reality, to absorb what's actually happening or what someone else is actually saying, rather than immediately jumping in and projecting your internal narrative onto the situation.
Just listening. It sounds simple, but it's probably quite profound in practice.
It really can be.
But even if we get better at listening, there's still a major internal hurdle, isn't there? You mentioned earlier, even our own internal reflection can be biased.
That's right.
So if I sit down and try to think really deeply about my beliefs, why can't I fully trust my own introspection? Why isn't that enough?
Because of something called confirmation bias. It's a well-documented cognitive bias. We unconsciously, automatically seek out information, memories, and interpretations that confirm what we already believe.
So my self-reflection might just lead me down paths that reinforce my current identity.
Exactly. It feels like deep thinking, but it can easily just become an echo chamber, reinforcing the status quo of your own mind. It's the path of least psychological resistance.
Okay, that's a bit unnerving. If we can't fully trust our internal feedback loop, what's the solution? How do we get any kind of objective view?
Well, the solution Ziemann proposes is the critical value of having a trusted individual in your life.
Ah, okay. Someone external.
Yes, someone who can provide truly honest and objective feedback. This person essentially acts as that unbiased mirror that we cannot hold up for ourselves effectively.
Okay, but wait a minute. Isn't there a risk there? Couldn't seeking external feedback just mean you're replacing one comfortable set of beliefs, maybe your own, with someone else's? How do you, vet this trusted individual?
That is a really important question, and it comes down to the difference between seeking validation and seeking clarity.
Okay.
The trusted individual Ziemann talks about isn't just someone who makes you feel good or agrees with you. They have to be committed to your growth, not just your comfort.
So someone who's willing to challenge my perceptions.
Exactly. Someone capable of challenging you, ideally using observed facts about your life, your behavior, the impact you have, not just agreeing with the story you tell yourself.
That requires a pretty special kind of relationship built on real honesty. Radical honesty, maybe.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
It's not easy to find or to be that person for someone else.
So beyond seeking that external perspective, what else? The paper stresses one final constant requirement, right?
Yes, it's about cultivating a relentless curiosity about your own beliefs. Never stop asking the questions.
Continually asking why. Why do I believe what I believe?
And not just why, but also, is this belief grounded in actual truth?
And is it valid? Does it actually work for me in my life? Does it align with the person I want to be?
Those questions, asked repeatedly, keep the process alive.
So if we kind of tie this all together, the paper's concluding point is pretty powerful, isn't it? This journey to self-awareness, it's ongoing.
Absolutely. It requires dedication. It never really ends because, well, life keeps happening. Our circumstances evolve, we evolve.
Right. But by systematically questioning those foundational beliefs, really understanding how our identity shapes our perception, and actively seeking out that objective external perspective when we can.
Yeah.
That's how we foster a more truthful and ultimately a more meaningful existence.
It moves us away from just reacting automatically based on old programming.
And toward genuine consciousness, real choice.
That shift is the definition of growth, isn't it? Moving from living inside that subjective story of self toward a more objective understanding of the values that actually drive your choices.
Well, we certainly hope these actionable insights from Brent Ziemann's white paper help you on your own path. And remember, you can contact Brent Ziemann directly at 972-301-2878.
Or via email at getwisdomprinciple@gmail.com.
That's getwisdomprinciple@gmail.com.
And also, please be sure to check out our sponsors. You can find them at www.getwisdom.cc/sponsors.
They help make this all possible. Thank you so much for listening today. We really appreciate you tuning in.
We do.
And we'll see you tomorrow right here on the Get Wisdom podcast.